Decision theory. Well, what does decision theory mean? Decisions are something which we take in our everyday lives. We weigh in the actions, we weigh in the consequences of those actions, and then we take a decision. Most of the time, the decisions are right, but there are situations when you regret your decision and you regret the reason, the actual decision that you take, the path that you had decided for yourself. That's absolutely natural. Now, this is a little bit philosophical, but what if you had an algorithm which would tell you the outcome of each of your decisions and the outcome of every single option that you had, and then you could have made a decision on your own? Well, it's not really practical in real life. However, in mathematics and in statistics, it is very practical. So for that, we have decision theory. Number of theorists have come and found out ways of actually optimizing our decisions in a way that we get the maximum profit or minimized costs and so on. So for that, we have a basic problem which is divided into 4 parts per se. The first part is events. Events are something which you cannot control. In our life as well, we have things, the uncontrollable factors as we name them, something which we cannot control. In Payoff, this is a Payoff matrix, in a question as well, you will have these events which you cannot control. For example, in these 18 to 23 is the demand of the people to buy books. That is something which you cannot control. You cannot control demand. You might be able to influence it, but you cannot truly control it. If you could, then you'd obviously go for the highest demand and the highest supply to get the most amount of payoff. But you cannot control the demand. And in life as well, we have these uncontrollable factors. So whatever decisions we take in our lives are also based around these uncontrollable factors. We base our decisions, we base our actions on these uncontrollable events per se, and the second part of that is actions. So actions are something, as I said, based on events. You can take different actions. Let's say you have 18 to 23 books. You have the option of buying 18 books, 19 books, 20 books, 21, 22 or 23 books. So this is the action that you can take. Now, what actions you take will have a return, will have an outcome per se, and that outcome is called as payoff. Payoff, there are two things in decision theory, either payoff or opportunity loss. I'll explain that in some time. So then we have payoff, and based on that payoff, now you have all the options in front of you. After doing what, I'll get what. After buying 18 books, how much will I be able to earn? After buying 23 books, how much we will be able to earn. So that is decisions. After knowing all the consequences, after knowing all the factors that are getting involved, taking the right decision. Now, uncertainty and risk I'll explain later, but let's go back here. So we had this question wherein one book costs 80 rupees and one sells at 100 rupees, right? One book costs 80 rupees, one book sells at 100 rupees. And if it's not sold, then the scrap value in the market is 30 rupees. So if it's not sold, you incur a loss of 50. So now we have the option of buying either 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 books. The question here is not how many books you should buy. The question is, why would you only have 23 books at max on your store? Okay, humor aside, quite frankly, it is a question. Okay, whether we should have 18 books at stock or 23 books at stock. Similarly, why only 23? Because we know that our maximum demand is 23. It cannot go beyond 23, and it cannot go less than 18 as well. So why buy those many books? I mean, you can. There's the option, but why? We know that it's never going to go beyond 23. Then why incur a loss of 50 on that extra additional book, right? So then let's go here. You buy 18 books, they cost 100, and they cost 80 and you sell them for 100. So a profit of 20 rupees. 18 books, people buy 18 books, you have 18 books, you get 360 profit. You have 18 books, people are asking for 19 books, but you don't have 19 books. However, you can still sell those 18 books. So you will sell those 18, you will get 360 again. Similarly, repeat that process for 20, 21, 22, 23. This is the first payoff for 18 books. Then we have 19 books. Now here the twist comes. 19 books mein people are asking for 18 books. You have 19, so you sold them 18 books. You got a profit of 360, 20 rupees into 18 books. 18 twos are 36, 360 rupees. But you have this one book remaining. You cannot keep any book for as stock for the next year. So what will you have to do? Scrap it out. Now after you scrap it, you will get 30 rupees. So you're incurring a loss of 50 rupees. Agreed or not? You have cost of 80. Then you have scrap value of 30, which means that you're selling a book which cost you 80 rupees at 30 rupees. So you're selling it for less. So you're incurring a loss of 50. So 360 profit, let me just write this here. 360 profit minus 50 loss will give you 310, your total payoff, which is here. Similarly, 19 books demanded, 19 books in stock, 380 rupees. 19 books demanded, 20 books demanded, 19 books in stock. One book is not given, but still you're selling all of your books, so you're incurring a profit of 380. That is repeated here. Then now here, if you'll see, slowly the profit is increasing, but the risk is also increasing. Here I was not incurring any loss per se, but here there is a chance of incurring a 310, that 50 rupees ka loss for 310. You can say that the amount which is not earned, this 20 rupees, okay, you go from 360 to 380, that 20 rupees, it's not earned, so you won't consider it as a loss. Some do. Some people consider opportunity loss to be loss, but that's not loss. Pure loss nahi. It's not pure loss. So anyway, you have this extra risk of losing 50 rupees, but at the same time you have this a profit of 20 rupees at every single point. So you can repeat that process. 20 books, 18 books are demanded. You have 2 books which go waste, that is 100 rupees of loss and 360 rupees of profit. 360 minus 100 is 260. Repeat the process for 21, 22, 23 and column wise. I hope that is understandable. If you have any questions, you can perhaps ask me on WhatsApp. Next, now this is the decision theory. This is a payoff matrix. Well, some say that you have to use the opportunity loss or regret table as well. And we don't mind that. Okay, you are posing a challenge. We'll obviously take it head on and figure out what it means. Well, a method of doing opportunity loss, you can say that you take the highest value of a row. So here it's 360, here it's 380, here it's 400, 420, 440, 460. And you subtract it by each element of the row. So 360 minus 310, 50. 360 minus 260, 100. 360, same. Similarly, 380 minus 360, 20. And so on and so forth. Now, if you think about it, this side, this zero ka diagonal that we have, the values below it are all our opportunity loss. Why do I say that? When we had 18 books, somebody demanded for 19 books. So that one book which we cannot give, right? The one book which we are losing on, that's an opportunity which we are losing on. It's an opportunity to make profit which we cannot utilize at our max. So that is our opportunity loss. And that's why it's 20. Similarly for 20 books, 21 books, 22 books, 23 books. And it goes on till here, because here we have 22 books. Somebody asked for 23 books, that one is 20. The maximum opportunity loss happens when people ask for 23 books and you only have 18. You can say that you were absolutely unfortunate here. Similarly, here, this 0K right side, the things above it are all our regrets. You thought that people will ask for 19 books, but people only asked for 18 books. So you incurred a loss of 50. You regretted asking for that extra book. It's loss. It's eating your profit. It doesn't mean it's pure loss, a negative value, but it is eating your profit. Similarly, 20 books, you thought people will ask for 20, but they only asked for 18, 100 loss, 50 loss. This is the regret. You are regretting not doing that. Sorry, you are regretting doing that. Opportunity loss is kind of regretting on not taking the opportunity. Regret as a whole, it's literally regretting about the decisions that you took. So this is an opportunity loss, very easy to make. Take the maximum value. If you think about it in that way, 18 books, 19 books, okay. So you lost on one book का कितना profit है? 20. So that's why 20 here. And regret में 19 books you bought, but you only sold 18. That one book is a loss of what? 50. So 50. Similarly, you can go in a logical way as well. You can go in a mathematical way as well. Both make sense. Now decisions. How would you take a decision of how many books to take? Very simple. You have two things: uncertainty or risk. Well, I've written here uncertainty means no probability. Risk means with probability. You can say that in a way, okay, uncertain. When you're uncertain about something, you're not sure about it, right? You're not really aware about it. You're not sure what decision to take and whether it's right or not, and so on and so forth. Because you do not really know what the outcome is. You don't know what's going to happen. What's the chance of happening? What's the probability that is attached to that event? And that's why it's called uncertainty. While uncertainty is a little more, you can say uncertainty is riskier than risk, because uncertainty mein you'd never know what's going to happen. It's pure luck. Whereas in risk, you know ke I know that 0.5%, 50% chance hai that this product is going to fail, but I am risking that other 50% of it going to succeed as a proper risk. Ke it will successfully sell in the market. So that's a risk that I'm taking with probability. I know it can fail and I know it can succeed as well. So uncertainty mein we have various methods. The first is Laplace method. Laplace method, very simple, very straightforward. Take averages of all alternative courses of action and select the one giving maximum payoff. What do you mean by alternative courses? Alternative courses matlab ye. I could either go with 18 or 19 or 20 or 21 or 22 or 23. The or indicates that it's an alternative solution or an alternative course of action. Yeah, I could have gone with it. I didn't, but I could have. So what you do is you see this, okay, 18 mein. If I would have had 18 books, then what I would do is I would add all these. All these are my payoff when I'm having 18 books. You can agree with that. 18 books mein I'm getting these payoffs for these situations. I don't know which situation is going to happen. I'm uncertain about it. So I'll just take all these values and I'll average them out. You will repeat the process for 19. You say 310 plus 380 plus 380 plus 380 plus 380 plus 380 average. Divide by 6. Average, I hope you understood why divide by 6. Well, we have 6 rows here. That's why. You can have 5 rows and you will divide by 5. You will have 4 rows. You will divide by 4, so on and so forth. Then you go with 19, then 20, then 21, 22, 23. Simple as that. Very straightforward. I hope you've understood. It basically averages. Why does it average? Well, humans, they love averages. If you think about it, when you're in class, you ask for the class topper and you ask for the class average in order to analyze whether I am above that average and whether I am in the good side, or I am below the average and at the bad side, or I am in the average, which is basically mediocre. So that's why we take, when we are uncertain about something, we take the average in order to know what is the general trend following, what is the average, what is the maximum number of people, if you'll see in an average, the highest concentration is in the middle per se. So what is that highest concentration? And here, so we take the average and we take the highest value out of this. The highest is 368.85. So because 19 is greater than all the other values, 19 books is the most optimum solution as per Laplace. So someone who wants to follow Laplace, they'll get this value. Okay, when they give 19 books, they'll have this 368.3 ka outcome. Why so? 368? Because 310 is kind of averaging other things a little lower. You have the probability of 5 pure profits, but 1 a little bit of a loss as well. Similarly, you will see that here 2 losses are there, but still it's very little, right? 2 losses hai and 4 profits hai, but still 365. It's very close to 368. Why? Because these profits are very high. Similarly, you will have different situations when the profits are very high, and even though, let's say here there would have been 5 losses but 1 extra supernormal profit, which will make us say okay, 23 is better. Usually that doesn't happen. Most of the time it's either one of these two, wherein there are 2 losses, 4 profits, or 3 losses and 4 profits. sorry, 1 loss and 5 profits, and 2 loss and 4 profits. It's either 19, 20, 21. Average may, if you think, it usually comes out like that. Okay. And the next is Maximin, Minimax. You can also call this the pessimistic thinker approach, because in this we want to reduce our losses. Losses as in we want the least amount of, as I said, loss. How do you go about this? Well, it's also called as the Maximin and Minimax for a reason. Maximin क्यों बोलते हैं? Maximin. What do you do in Maximin? If matrix is payoff, this is a payoff matrix, and you use Maximin. Maximin. Simply take the word Maximin. It clearly says that. So what do you do? When you're writing Maximin, you can consider it in a way that it's maxi bracket min. This is just a way of remembering. Don't use it as such. But Maximin, how do you go about that? You one second. Yeah. So you go in the payoff. You take the minimum value in each column. In each column, and then you write those values. Okay. In this, okay, I'll just use a pen for now. You can do this in your exam in any way you want. I've written it here. Yeah. So I took the minimum, maxi of min. So minimum first and then maximum, brackets, Bodmas rule you can say. So you take the maximum, minimum of this. 360 ka minimum 360, 19 mein 310, then 260, 210, 160, 110. Coincidentally, it's the first row. It's not going to always be the first row, but here it is. So then after getting these values, 360, 310, 260, 210, 160, 110, you take the maximum of this minimum, which is the maximum value after this, 18. So you are going to tell that person, whoever has come to you, you will tell them that you are very pessimistic, you want to play it safe, you should have 18 books. Why so? If you look at it, 18 does not have any regret whatsoever. 18 has no regret whatsoever. It only has opportunity loss, but no regret whatsoever. It has no loss per se. No loss. Very happy people. But at the same time, if matrix is cost matrix, this was payoff matrix. If you have cost matrix, costs, you can understand costs by the sum giving you that, okay, it costs this much rupees to buy this product or so on. Then you will use Minimax. So mini of max, you can say, mini in bracket max. So you will take the maximum value and then you will tend to minimize it. So in this situation, if you say the pessimistic thinker is very happy, I am not incurring any single penny of loss, I am very happy because I am a pessimistic thinker. Then you have the maximax and minimum optimistic thinker strategy. Why is this optimistic? Well, you can say that you will get the maximum profit when you are following this. How so? Well, very easy. You go here, you have the maximax. So what did I say? Maxi of max. So you take the maximum value. Here 360, here 380, here 400, here 420, here 440, here 460. You write them down. You take the maximum of those maximum. So you'll take 460. Maximum of these maximum. Maxi, max as the name suggests. 460. So I am so optimistic. I am so profit driven, not ridden, that I am going to have the maximum books. If you'll see, I'll have the highest regret out of all of them. But at the same time, I'm going to have the highest profit of all of them. So very optimistic thinker, very positive. I am very, very positive. Then I'll go with the maximax or the minimum strategy. Minimum is also very similar. You take the minimum value of all the A, and then you take the minimum of that minimum. But minimum is for costs, not for payoff. If it were for payoff, then the answer would have been, wait, 63, 10, no, I'll take that back. I confused it with this. Minimum is also for this only. Minimum is also for payoff. I'll take that back. You take 360, 310, 260, 200, 160, 110. The minimum of this minimum, which is 310. So you will still have 23 books. So how will you conclude this? The shopkeeper, because of being very optimistic, should have 23 books because it will match his style. Then we have Horowitz Criterion. I might be butchering this name, I apologize for that. But Horowitz Criterion, you can say that in Horowitz was this kind of a person who said, well, you know, every person has this nature of sorts, and you can evaluate that nature. You can understand whether this person is very optimistic or pessimistic by just talking to them, which is true, right? You yourself know your risk factor. You can think of your risk appetite. You can create situations of your own wherein you are getting 100% return, but at the stake that you will lose 50% of your portfolio. Well, would you go for it? The people who hesitated are pessimistic. The people who jumped on it are very optimistic, you can say. So he says that there is a level of optimism. There is a level of idea whether I want to take that risk or not, and that is what is called as the Horowitz Criterion. You get this alpha value, it's given in the question. So if they say the level of optimism is 0.4, you can understand that I have to take Horowitz. Similarly, they give you 1 minus alpha, which is the pessimistic value, which means that the appetite of that person, the negative appetite, okay, the way he thinks of losses and the way he thinks of profits, that's given here. So the criterion value is what you use for the Horowitz criterion. Yeah. So you take the maximum value of a single column. Okay. You take the maximum value of the single column, you multiply it by 0.4 because it's alpha, you multiply it by alpha, here it's 0.4, and plus you add the lowest value of the column, which is again 360 here, and you multiply it by 1 minus alpha. What does this mean? Well, the maximum is the most payoff that I can get, whereas the minimum is the least amount of payoff that I can get, right? So if I'm optimistic, I'm 0.4 optimistic, you can say I'm at the lower end of optimism. I am less than 0.5, which means I'm a little less optimistic. Then I'll be less happy about profits and I'll be more worried about losses. You can say that. Because I'm more pessimistic, I'll be worried about losses more than profits. So that's why we have a lowest, because lowest gives us the highest losses. You can say that here the lowest is 110 and we get the maximum regret 250 there. So you take those values. Here highest is 360, lowest is 360, highest is 380, lowest is 310, highest is 400, lowest is 260, highest is 420, lowest is 210, and you multiply it by the probability. You can call this probability, you can also call this, I would suggest that use the word alpha or level of optimism. You multiply it by level of optimism. And because if you'll see, uncertainty means no probability, so preferably don't use the term probability. That came out by mistake. And you add, you multiply and then you add, you multiply and then you add, you multiply and you add, you multiply and you add, you multiply and you add, and you multiply and then you add. Now in this, whichever has the highest payoff, which is the highest value, that is the number of books that you should buy. So in this case, because it's Horowitz criterion and this person has 0.4 optimism and 0.6 pessimism, is a little negative, you will go with 18 books. He's very, very safe play, a very safe play in my opinion, but yeah, you can go that. And then you have the Savage principle. Savage principle is the ditto of Minimax of 0.2. But when you take Minimax here, you say if a matrix is cost matrix, then you use Minimax. In this, the matrix is payoff matrix only. In this matrix only you will use Minimax. So you take the maximum 360, then 380, then 400, then 420, then 440, 460. This is the maximum. Then you take the minimum of the maximum. So here it is 360. Minimum of the maximum. The maximum of each row was each column was 360, 380, 400, 420, 440, 460 respectively. And the minimum of those maximum was 360. So you will go with 18 books. That's it. Congratulations. 23 minutes in and you know uncertainty. You need to try out a couple of more sums, and you need to be very careful when cost comes. If cost comes, everything flips per se. So in Minimax, how we did Minimax principle mein, because of this being, where is that? I think this is cost, yeah, cost matrix. In this, I've written 4, 8 and all that. Because it's Minimax, but because of cost, now it will change. You will take the maximum of the minimum. So you will be taking the maximum of each column. So here the maximum is 90, 76, 62, 48, 34, 20. Then you will take the minimum of the maximum, which is here it's 20. So you will be saying that okay, 5 paths were supposed to go down. But now in expected the this wala thing. Wait, where did it go? I actually did the expected here. So if you'll see, okay, that comes in later. I'll explain that later. But in Horowitz, this comes later. This is risk related, that is probability related. But in Horowitz, we had 0.7. This is the index of optimism. You took the maximum and minimum values. Now here it's very important because it's cost. You will be multiplying by minimum into alpha rather than maximum into alpha. You will be multiplying by minimum into alpha, and you will add maximum into 1 minus alpha instead of lowest into 1 minus alpha. This is very important to remember. It flips. Why does it flip? Well, because it's cost, right? I don't want maximized costs. I want minimized costs. And for that, if my level of optimism is 0.7, I can bear a little more loss. Then I'll obviously take the minimum value here and maximum because it flips. That flip is very important. Then we have risk. Risk is very easy to remember, a little more calculation oriented, but easy to remember. Risk may you'll always have probability. So if probability is given, you can conclude that it is a risk wala sum and you have to follow risk. If probability is given and then also they ask for, let's say, Laplace method or a pessimistic thinker's approach or optimistic thinker's approach, then you have to do the uncertainty wale things, ignoring the probability. There's a sum which comes later which does that. Now in risk you have the first concept, which is maximum likelihood. Very straightforward. This will never come in exam in my opinion, and if it does, then congratulations, you have a very good day. You take the event which has the maximum possibility. So here we have 0.4 ka maximum possibility, right? At the end of the day, these are the probabilities: 0.05, 0.1, 0.3, 0.4, 0.1, 0.05. You can convert these into percentages and say 5% chance, 10% chance, 30% chance, 40% chance, 10% chance, 5% chance. So 40% chance, this is the most likelihood thing. The thing which is most likely to happen is this E4, that is getting 18, 19, 20, 21 books ka demand. So you will simply say as E4 is equal to 0.4 probability, which is the highest. E4, you take the highest value, which is 420, and 420 is what? Getting 21 books. So you will say that you should take action 4, which is keeping 21 books. Very simple. I'm a simple man. I need numbers, and my numbers will support my conclusions. So my numbers say that 0.4, which is the highest, it says that okay, 21 books is the highest possibility. Uska sabse zyada chance hai. It's the most likely to happen. And I'm a man of numbers. I'm like, fine, done. 0.4, I'm okay with it. Let's just take 0.4 ka maximum or payoff that I can get, and the maximum payoff is 420. So I order 21 books. The next is expectation principle. This is very calculation oriented. You can say that this is a man or a woman who does not want to take a blind risk of sorts. Very calculated person, very, very calculated. What do? You take the probability, you go row wise, okay? You go column wise, okay? 18 ka column, 19, because 18 is the action that we are going to take, 19 is the action, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 23 is the action we are going to take. So, a little mouthful. But you go here, you take probability of this 0.05, you multiply by 360, 0.1, you multiply by 360, 0.3, multiply by 360, 0.4, multiply by 360, 0.1, multiply by 360, 0.05, multiply by 360, and you write that. Basically, multiplying the probability with the payoff, and you get the value, 360. Wow, good number. Next, E19. 19 is what? Action 19 is 310 is 0.5. Then 380, all of it is matching. 380, all of it is matching. So if you can think of it in a way that 380 may 0.1, then 3 into 0.3. So you can take 380 common out, and you can add 0.1 plus 0.3 plus 0.4 plus 0.1 plus 0.05. And then you add plus into 0.05 into 310, which will give you 338. You can repeat that process for E20, E21, E22, E23. Yeah. And now, because this is payoff, The maximum value here is what? 20. So I'll be saying that, okay, sir, with the information that you've provided, I would suggest that you should have 20 books. ये probability जो है, this is done by researchers, and this is market oriented, very practical, actually happens in real life. So I would suggest go with 386 because that's the maximum output based on the numbers that you have provided to me. Very simple. 20 में कैसे किया? 0.05 into 260, 0.1 into 330, 0.3 into 400. Now you might ask ये 360, 310 वो सब कैसा है? I just took this table there, here. It's the same sum but with risk. So with this, I am saying with expectation principle, I am saying that you should have 20 books because that will give you the most profit per se. Then you have expected payoff with perfect information. Perfect information matlab kya? I know for a fact that this 0.05 is for 360. I know for a fact that 0.1 is for 380. I know for a fact that 0.3 chance है कि 400 होगा. I know for a fact that 0.4 chance है that 420 होगा. I know for a fact that 0.05 chance है कि 4 कितना क्या है? 0.05 chance of 460 happening. It's given by them that we have this perfect information, and ये perfect information कौन देता है? People do research, they are experts in that, they do market analysis, they do all that, and then they give us this perfect information. I am 100% sure that 0.05 is going to happen for 18. So 18 डिमांड जो है उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी इज 0.05, तो हम 0.05 को 360 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे. देन आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट दैट 0.1 इज गोइंग टू बी फॉर 380, देन मल्टीप्लाई दैट. ये similarly I know for a fact that 0.3, 0.4, 0.1 and 0.05 is respectively for these numbers. I multiply and get this value. 411, as you can see, is higher than 386. I hope you can understand that. So when I didn't know, I wasn't sure what I should do, I went with this. Okay, let's go with 820. But now that I'm 100% sure, I know for a fact कि क्या होने वाला है, तो मेरा 411 आ रहा है. तो you can say that this is a little logical कि expected payoff with perfect information is 411. मतलब हमारे जो पक्का मालूम है this is going to happen. But when we are expected principle with only normal information, we don't know which is going to happen. We just know the probability of it. So that is 386. So this subtraction, 25 rupees, this is very important. 25 rupees is the value which is your cost of information. So what does it mean? अगर मैं 25 रुपये पे कर रहा हूँ तो मेरा 386 से प्रॉफिट इंक्रीज हो रहा है 411, which means that I am increasing my profit by 25, but at the same time I'm paying 25 for it. So my net effect is going to be 0. But if I were to pay 18 rupees for this information, and I would come to know, oh, I could increase it to 411, so that 7 rupees ka difference is my profit, extra profit, which I would not have earned without this perfect information. So whenever you are dealing with people who are statistical experts, and you know this cost of information, you will try to have a better bargain. They'll go for 25. They can go even for 30 for that matter, and we'll be incurring a loss for that in that case. But we know what we should go with and figure it out accordingly. Now Horowitz, I told you cost mein Horowitz hua to kya karte. In this expected principle, when costs are there, 45, 34, 26, 21, 19 and 20, based on this table, the question will be with you, I'm 100% sure. Actually I'm not 100% sure, doesn't matter, but based on that, it's very tiring. Let me just be back. Okay, based on that, so now here, because it's cost, you will be taking the lowest value, and the lowest value is 19, so 4 parts. So I'll be taking 4 parts because that is incurring me the lowest amount of cost. Then we have these tables. I'll explain it in the next video.